podcast. I'm your host, David Moya. Today we have a special guest, Danielle Short. She is a pretty much world-renowned real estate agent, top for the last 15 years. She's also been a top agent here with Pacific Sotheby's. So Danielle, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks, David. I'm happy to be here.
And of course, we have Michael Campos on the show as well. Michael, thank you for being on the show. He's going to talk a little bit about real estate, mortgage rates rather, and help co-host this awesome interview with Danielle. So Michael, thank you for being on the show.
Hey, thanks, and nice to see you, David. And hi, Danielle. Nice to see you.
Mike, always a pleasure to see you too.
Now, Danielle, you were top 1% internationally with Coldwell Banker for over 15 years. And now you're still a top producer with Pacific Sotheby's International Realty. So congratulations. You obviously doing a phenomenal job. I know in the pre-production call with Mike, we talked just about like how you've been able to do such a phenomenal job with your brand. And, you know, when people think of you, they think of high quality experience and service. So congratulations.
Thanks. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Talk to me a little bit about what got you into real estate.
Prior to my real estate career, I worked for a company that everybody knows. I was a Nordie. I worked for Nordstrom. And I worked for Nordstrom for 15 years and in everything, sales, management. I was a vendor. I did many things with the company. I actually opened some stores on the East Coast. I kind of ran the gamut in the retail. And after 15 years, I have to tell you, retail's sort of underrated. It's very hard work. And it got to a point where I was burned out and I needed to do something different. So I came home one day and I told my husband, I can't do this anymore. I've got to do something else. And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. I have no idea. He said, well, what do you like to do? I said, well, I like people and I love sales. And he said, honey, you need to sell real estate. And I said, oh my gosh, no, I don't know anything about real estate. I'm not good at that at all. He said, no, that's going to be your most successful career. And so I said, okay. And I went for it. And I got my real estate license in 1996 and started out slowly, kind of tiptoeing into the business because I didn't know what I was doing. But what I did is something I learned from Nordstrom. And actually, there's this idea that when you work for that company, for Nordstrom, that they give you all this training, which they do. But the most important thing I got from them was, if you want to be successful, watch the people that are successful and do what they do. So I took that to heart when I got into real estate. And I started really not stalking, but following all the top producers and talking to them and asking them questions. And how do you do this? And how do you do open houses? How do you do a listing? So forth. And it was just a matter of time where I started taking these ideas and making them my own.
And, working in the community with you, I get to see you work at a very high caliber. Now I know why you're at such a high caliber is because you've been a high caliber person. It's in your blood to work with these type of clienteles. And that's really neat to see. Out of all the agents that you've, asked questions to, and out of all the agents you've asked questions to, the agents that you've worked with, what's kind of one of the biggest takeaways that you've gotten from other experienced agents in your beginning years that you basically apply every day?
Mm-hmm. That is a pertinent question. And I'll tell you what I learned and I do to this day. I believe one of the most important things that you can do to be successful in this business is to be consistent. And I am consistent. I consistently do the things that work. Even after almost 25 years, I still do direct mail. I direct mail to my clients every single month. And I've been doing it for, as I said, almost 25 years. And I think that doing that, what it's done is it's put an idea in their mind that she's still here. She's still selling real estate. There she is again. What is she doing now? I've had people come to me after 18 years and saying, hey, do you remember us? You sold us a house 18 years ago, and we get your mailers, and we watched your career, and now we're ready. We're ready to do something different.
Yeah, so you obviously have laid down the foundation for your success with the tried and true strategies to create your business, right? So you're doing what you have to do, and you're doing it consistently, like you said. So let's talk about that success, right? You've been successful. We mentioned earlier, kind of your awards, your accolades, and all that. Let's talk about your success and your volume, like what you've been doing lately. Let's talk about that if we could.
Well, certainly the last few months have been unprecedented. This is a very unique real estate market. Lots of changes, but what I'm seeing in this market is it's an explosion. And Mike, I'm sure you can agree with me on that. What I'm telling people is this is like 2005 and 2006 with better interest rates. People they're ready to buy. There's lots of change occurring. And so as far as volume and selling, my business is still very strong, and I'm grateful for that.
You have a lot of transactions that you're working on now. A lot of transactions you've closed, and I know that you have a lot coming up. You've been able to build a little bit of a team as well to help increase your ability to serve your clients. How many people are on your team right now?
Well, right now, it's myself and a wonderful gentleman named John Ferris. John is kind of iconic in Rancho Santa Fe. He owned Ferris Mortgage for over 30 years in the ranch, and everybody knows John. He's a wonderful man. He's very knowledgeable, and he and I work really well together. We assist each other. We empower each other. It's been a wonderful connection with John. And then I also have marketing people that work with me. I have transaction coordinators as well. And hopefully, fingers crossed, my son is talking about coming into the real estate business. So he's in the process of working on getting his license.
That's fantastic. You know, I've always wondered why John asked me such great questions about lending, and that's because of all those years in the business.
Definitely.
And it being a family business, having your son on board, that's going to be a great add and a great plus. So I'm excited to see that happen.
Thank you. I am too. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I love the fact that you're bringing this, to your next generation, to the next generation, which is your son. And I love that because someone in his generation can really add value to someone in your generation and vice versa. So I feel like when somebody can create a dynamic team like that, it's such an awesome thing. And you're clearly passionate about what you do, and you're going to be able to, give that over to him as well, kind of pass that on to him as well. What has made you passionate about real estate over the years? Because it's something that can really burn people out if they're not in it for the right reasons, right?
It's true. Absolutely. I've certainly seen it. I love it. I love what I do. I love this career. It's fun. I guess that's really probably, if it's not fun anymore, then I don't know if I want to do it anymore. But it's still fun. It's such a creative business. There's so much that you have to know. You need to be a good negotiator. You need to understand psychology. You need to understand homes and design. And it's multi-dimensional, which I really enjoy. And of course, dealing with people. I love working with people and understanding personalities. How can I help them? How can I assist them to create win-win situations as they're moving forward? These are all things that just speak to me, and it feels very natural to me to do that.
So part of this passion has helped you become successful because it makes you want to wake up early in the morning and get to work and help your clients. And the question is what do you attribute your success to? But I think you've answered that question here a couple of times.
Hard work.
Yeah.
Honestly, Mike, it's just hard work. Even though I might have deals close escrow, it doesn't mean that I stop.
Right.
I don't stop. If I stop the engine, it's going to take a lot more work to get it going again. So I'm always creating new business, always. I'm always looking for opportunities. I'm always talking to people. I'm looking for ways to be innovative with the business. I'm educating myself as best I can to understand what's happening in the marketplace. So it's a continual thing.
Right. And that's a really big, for me, that was a really big Brian Buffini coaching point that I took away from that many years ago, was always keep your foot on the gas, always innovate,
Yeah.
always grow and stuff. Because, we see realtors that have a great month and then they have nothing for a few months, and then they have a great month and then it's up and down. But it sounds like your consistency is what's really helped you push through those valleys and keep you always working on towards your next peak.
It has. It has.
One thing I'd like to add is when we went and filmed one of your properties, you did a Facebook Live. We supported you. We were just supporting Cass there. John was there, and you just have this like natural, authentic, yet very professional way about yourself that translates really well into video. But even when you're there in person, I think that that resonates from you, and I feel like people they are drawn to that because of the authenticity, but yet you bring a very professional approach to that authenticity as well, right? Because a lot of times people think, oh, you just be authentic, be yourself, which you are, but then people might think, oh, that's messy. But for you, you're like well polished, you're professional, but yet you're authentic and genuine in how you want to help your clients.
I am who I am. This is it. I don't put on the realtor mask. This is me. I'm very direct. I try to be tactful and thoughtful about how I'm presenting things to people so that they have a good sense of what my goals are, which is always to help them. Mm. And I don't know, it's just natural, I guess.
Yeah. No, for sure. And because you've had success, throughout the years, you have obviously you're well seasoned agent. You're not new to this business. But along the way, Mike kind of alluded to it earlier, just the whole, going through real estate, going through the ups and downs, and then discovering things you might have not known or knew about before you started the real estate career. What would you say is something you didn't know or something you didn't expect about real estate that now you're just kind of like, wow, this is, somebody should have told me, or this is kind of something that I have known.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I didn't realize that I would have to be a bit of a psychologist. That part I didn't see that coming. You watch, HGTV, and you watch these programs where they make it look like, well, you just run around and look at pretty houses, or some of these other programs where you show the client 3 houses and they have to pick one. Well, that is not reality at all. That is not. Right. You've got lots of different personalities, things that you have to work with. Being a bit of sensitive, I guess, being very sensitive to dealing with what everybody needs. And so that I didn't expect. It wasn't straightforward in that respect. I really had to talk to people. And the way that I learned to do this is I asked questions. Yeah. I would ask them questions because I realized that in sales, this is not about me. This is not about me at all. This is about them. So the only way I'm going to find out how to best serve them is to ask them questions. And the more information I get from them, the better I can present to them what they need.
So your son, there's a high possibility he's going to be joining the team here soon. Let's just say tomorrow he gets his real estate license and it's hung at Pacific Sotheby's, and he walks in the door dressed and ready to go. What would be the first piece of advice that you give to him into how to start building his business up and earning his stripes in the industry?
The first thing that I plan to tell him is to tell everyone he knows that he is a real estate agent. Everyone. Don't let it be a secret. Don't hide it. Don't feel like you can't tell people that you sell real estate because you haven't done any deals. It doesn't matter. You tell them you're in real estate and you start educating yourself about real estate. And what that means is you, as I said before, you ask questions. You find out, how do I do this? How do I do that? And I will take him on a, I would say a bit of a step-by-step, but again, this is all very,
fluid.
it's organic, right? It's
Yeah.
organic. I can't say exactly what I'm going to do, but first and foremost, that's what I'm going to tell him to do, Mike, is start putting the word out that this is who you are now, because you have to be a realtor. You have to be that person.
Right.
And then you will have the experience of dealing as a real estate agent.
I imagine that there are times where you, might feel like there are a lot of other agents who maybe don't make that as obvious as they should, so their business kind of ends up lacking because of it, right? Because there's this vague ambiguity to what they actually do because they're doing everything and anything, right? So having a clear career, making sure everybody knows what you do versus kind of like, oh, I do real estate, but then I also do all these other 10 other things as well, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Right.
Yeah. Imagine
Yeah.
that concretes.
I see it a lot where realtors might be shy or humble or just not wanting to be salesy and they don't put themselves out there into their community or onto the advertising world or social media world, and because of many reasons. And I just see that the agents that are out there in the social media world or the advertising world, putting themselves out there to their community, they're not very salesy and trying to be that bad salesperson. They are being genuine. They're being honest about what they're doing and representing their clients the best they can. And I see that going very, very far for them. And that's, I think, how a lot of those agents succeed, is by just simply putting themselves out there.
It's about giving great service.
Right.
It's giving great customer service. I mean, getting back to my old Nordstrom roots, and that's what it was all about, is what would I want? How would I want to be treated?
You have to think about the client, the end user, the individual who's going to be experiencing your service. And if you're not excited about it, if you don't have purpose in it, like if you're not crossing off all these or checking off your list, all these things that you obviously have in your business, then someone's business will suffer from it, because people are going to feel that, they're going to see that. So yeah.
Yes, 100%.
So let's talk a little bit about the current real estate market. I know we kind of talked a little bit about it at the beginning of the show, but let's talk current state, real estate, and then mortgage as well. I mean, you guys take over, because obviously you're the experts. I'm here. I'll have some questions, but Danielle, if you can give us just
Danielle,
what's the current state look like, and then Michael, you can chime in with mortgage and all that good stuff, please.
Well, it's an incredible market right now. There are needs that have come up that we have not seen before, and there's needs as far as the types of homes people are wanting. With all this change that's been occurring, what people are looking for is space, and they're also looking for not just space between their neighbors, but they're looking for space in the house, in the structure, that they can use for home offices. And also, now that in some cases the children are home and they just need to have a different living arrangement. So that is shifting things in the real estate market for sure. As far as price point, what I can tell you is that I have seen an increase in residential real estate in Rancho Santa Fe like I haven't seen in years. And I'm talking about higher end properties, very high end properties that are selling. 20 million, 11 million, 6 million. Right now, there's more than I have seen in years that are in pending status in the ranch. And if there's anything that's under 2.5 million, it's selling very fast.
Yeah, inventory looks to be very challenging right now in
It
Rancho
is.
Santa Fe and Santa Luz and those
Absolutely.
areas.
Yes, it is. Del Sur, that whole area. Yeah,
You know,
it
one
is.
thing that a lot of buyers in your market, Rancho Santa Fe, Del Sur, Santa Luz, you know, a lot of those buyers are existing homeowners. Many of them are coming from out of state, whether it's from San Francisco or another state, or
Mhm.
a lot of them are local. I mean, a lot of people are simply moving in or out of a particular community, neighboring
Yes.
communities.
Mhm.
And one of the biggest things that has been tough is because inventory is so low, they have to fight really, really hard and be very aggressive in their offers to getting those offers accepted. And so some of the strategies that we've been helping current homeowners use to purchasing their next property is to be a non-contingent buyer, whether it's planning a couple months ahead of time and helping them get a home equity line of credit for the down payment, home equity line of credit on the current home, to use that home equity line of credit as the down payment on the new home. Or if we're using what we call a cross-collateralization loan, where it's a umbrella loan against two properties, their existing home and their new home, that oftentimes helps them be aggressive and competitive in buying non-contingent. And then, you know, we're also talking a lot of strategy about helping buyers use a Fannie Mae loan and stay away from jumbo loans. Jumbo loans right now, because of COVID, have really become conservative. Although we can still get $1 million or $2 million loan with a jumbo client, they are very difficult to get approved compared to using a 701,000 first mortgage and then combining it with a second mortgage, allowing them to finance about 1.2 million. So we're utilizing, you know, many different loan products to help clients become non-contingent in these really highly competitive areas,
Yes.
like the cities, communities we just mentioned. But we're seeing it everywhere. I mean, if we step outside of the high net worth umbrella and go into, you know, average sales price communities, we're still seeing competition being very, very high right now. So it's very neat to be a part of it and to be right in the trenches with everybody else and working together and playing as a team and being understanding about how complicated or difficult things are.
Yes.
But it's a lot of fun to be in there.
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario when you get into multiple offers in this market in particular. And how do you position your client to be the one that is accepted? You know, I think that's just kind of the fine art of negotiation on many levels to get that to happen.
I agree.
Danielle, are you seeing your homeowners are educated in the fact of how the current market is, or is it something that you have to, you know, educate them on?
No, they know. They're educated. I think now anymore, I mean, now remember, I had my license before the internet. Okay, so now with the advent of the internet, people know. They see it, they read it, they can find the information. They're well aware of what's going on. They are definitely educated.
Are you seeing kind of any misinformation you have to help guide them away from, or anything that you feel, you know, are you directing them in a way that they probably aren't asking those types of questions because they're just like, hey, you know, Danielle's got it under control?
Well, it depends. I still think there's a lot of people that go onto Zillow and they look at Zillow and they see what their house is worth. And they take that as the be all end all. That's it. That's the value of my house. And sometimes Zillow isn't too far off. Sometimes they are way far off. So it's a case by case basis. I have to talk to people based on what they're looking at and what they're thinking about the market and what the real value is. And then the way to educate them, of course, is to show them actual comps and to explain to them this is how an appraiser would look at your property. This is what the value really is. And again, it's just depending on the people. Some people are willing to listen, others are not.
Yeah, I'd say, you know, everybody knows, everybody's hearing like historical interest rates, but like even if you've already told somebody today, and you're like, man, I'm saying this all day on repeat. But talk to me about interest rates right now. What do they look like?
Yeah, these historical lows are really making people want to move forward. And a saying that one of my old mentors, Don Conley, has always said is that you don't live in the price, you live in the payment. So right now, payments are on sale. There's a lot of loan programs on 30-year fixed that are in the 2.375 interest rate range to 2.5 interest rate. We're helping high net worth clients borrow on we call super jumbo loans, which is over $3 million. They're in the 3% range. I mean, this money is at a really great price. And I'm in fact meeting somebody later today to talk to them about their $3 million loan. And, not only am I helping them get the right rate, but I'm also helping them get the right term. So some customers might not need a 30-year fixed loan, so they might not want to pay for a 30-year fixed loan. Sometimes the best strategy, depending on their overall circumstances, is that although the interest rate might be a little bit higher, it's going to cost you $10,000 or $20,000 less in costs. Or although the interest rate might be a little bit higher, the payment is interest only, which might reduce their overall cash flow by $1,000 or $1,500 a month. So my job is as a loan officer is to present multiple solutions and talk with the clients to figure out what might be the best fit for them. And that allows me to get to know people a little bit more instead of just putting their name in the system and pushing them off to the next step in the process. I get to kind of dive a little deeper and have conversations with them to really figure out what their goals are and how their cash flow is and what their comfort level is about their life. I mean, some people move every year. Some people move every 15 years. So everybody might need a different loan based off of those characteristics that they've had in their past.
I don't know if you're experiencing this, Mike, but something else I've seen lately is I've been talking to some clients that are saying that they hadn't really thought about selling, but this market is so strong that they are seriously considering making a change because the market is just so relevant right now and the inventory is low. So there's these kinds of buyers or clients that I didn't see years ago. People were waiting, but now they want to take advantage of this timing that we have of such a powerful market. Are you seeing that too?
Quite often. So I helped a customer buy a house in Del Sur maybe 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and he got a reasonable interest rate, maybe 3.3 or 3.5. I don't remember right now. And Del Sur is a very prestigious area, a new community area. And after moving in and now they're having their second child, they realized that they're not getting the benefits of the fees that are associated with living in those communities, whether it's the park, the pool, the skate park, whatever it may be, all those amenities that they thought they were going to buy into, they simply just don't leave the house. That's just them.
Yeah.
So the customer says, Mike, I'm spending, $10,000 a year on all these fees. I don't want to do that anymore. And so one customer is selling $1 million house and buying $1 million house and moving maybe 10 minutes away. But it's going to save them, $10,000 to $11,000 a year in fees, and they're going to get a little bit more space. And that's what they're looking for. Was one particular particular family was growing. Other families are saying, hey, you know what? Now that my kids are home, I want to buy a smaller house because I want these kids out of here. So I really get to hear some really neat stories about, as you mentioned, people's lives are changing now that they're a little bit more quarantined than before. The power of the accessory unit, the ADU, down off of the 8 freeway or Encinitas Carlsbad area. People are really taking advantage of that. And some families are saying, this is the only way I can afford to live in the beach cities or this urban areas is to have that ADU. So not only are we helping them, I'm helping them finance the properties, but I'm also helping them plan for building out those ADUs and creating the money needed to build an ADU on their properties. So we're seeing a lot of different types of clients out there. I even see international buyers
Yes.
that are bouncing back and forth between Rancho Santa Fe and La Jolla and just buying a second vacation home. And they thought they would like La Jolla, and maybe they don't. And now they're going the other direction. So
sometimes they have two.
Yes.
There's many clients that have a house on the ranch and a house on the beach. Yes.
That's right. So we're definitely seeing a lot of movement. These low rates are making people think about their options.
Yes.
And, someone who might have gotten a loan a year or two ago are possibly eligible for almost a 1% interest rate reduction on their loan. And that spread creates so much of a savings that it helps them afford to move up to that bigger or better house. And so it really is neat to see that homeowners are not only in San Diego, especially in San Diego, are keeping their jobs. They're still earning their income, but they can afford to make decisions like this in a time where, globally, we have this, COVID catastrophe happening all around us. But here in San Diego, we see really, really strong market, lots of cash buyers.
Yes.
And I'm just blown away. I feel like that, I'm completely blown away about it all. And I bet, correct me if I'm wrong, Danielle, but I bet you this inspires you. All this movement in the market probably inspires you a lot. What else inspires you to wake up in the morning, put on your 9s, your 10s, and go out there and do a super good job for your clients? What makes you get up in the morning and get it going?
I've always looked at it like this. Real estate is my career, but that's not entirely who I am. I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a friend, I'm all these things. So the joy of being able to connect with lots of different people and make great friends. And also what it does is it also gives me the freedom, I guess, to live a wonderful life with my family. So it's all combined. I mean, because we have such a career that we can essentially, I mean, I do go to the office, but oftentimes I work from my home office, and I can integrate a lot of what I do in being at home, which is wonderful. So it's a combination of a lot of things, but overall, I think it just boils down to when you're doing something that feels like what you're supposed to be doing in life, then everything just is good. That's a simple way of saying it, but that's the truth of it.
Totally true. I'm seeing you in your element too. We're filming another property for you next week, and when in the past when we've been at a property that we're filming for you, seeing you in your element, talking with the homeowners, it's really cool because a lot of times you attract the same type of clients as yourself in terms of like how friendly you are, how outgoing, how authentic, and I will say that's a really special part of what I do, and it piggybacks off of what you do. So it's like how good you are really helps us to do our job better, helps us to have a better experience. I mean, I think we were talking with the last homeowner for about an hour before we actually left, and she was just saying some amazing stuff and sharing some really, really deep stuff and really cool things. And it starts with you, because how you present yourself and then how you present the rest of your team, whether it's a lender partner or a production company, really starts with you. So I think that that's really, really important. And I guess it's kind of a thank you too, because for us, you set it up so we can succeed, and I get to experience that. And I don't say that to everybody, even though we work with a lot of agents. It's not the case for everybody, right? And I'm sure that's just life, right? You get to experience different people, different environments. And to be quite honest, that's also why I love what I do, because I can, meet different agents and different homeowners. And it's really cool to see just the homeowner's story, if they're open to sharing, what they do, how they, why they do what they do. I love asking questions to them too if they're open to it. Obviously, I don't impose and I don't, like get into people's business. But once they open up to me, I'm like, hey, you're really, really fun. Thank you for being so warm to us. We're able to do our job better when we get really pleasant people, and we've been constantly surrounded with pleasant people because of you. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. It's been fun to see how real estate has evolved over the years, especially in the marketing end. When I remember back in the very beginning when I got into real estate, a dear friend of mine, another realtor, came up to me and she said, "We need to get a website." And I said, "What is that? What's that? What is a website? I don't know what that is." She says, "Oh yeah, that's what we have to do. We have to get a website. You have to get a domain name." I'm like, "What is that? You need to get email?" I said, okay. So I kind of followed her. She and I together started kind of tiptoeing into the internet. And this is 20 years ago. And I kind of latched onto it and thought, well, this is fun. This is cool. So I created a website. And there were very few agents that had websites because, frankly, back then, everybody was afraid of it. They're like, no, I don't understand this. I'm not going to go there. And I had a 400-page website at the time. And yeah, it was huge. And so I said, well, what do I do with all this? And the people at the company said, well, you need to have listings on there. So I went to everybody I knew that was in real estate and said, hey, is it okay if I put your listing on my website? I'll say that you're the listing agent, but it's free advertising. They said, sure, I don't understand this website thing.
Smart.
So that's what I did. And that website, from probably 2000 until probably 2009, 2010, this is before Zillow and Realtor.com and all that, I did probably $100 million in business from that website.
Wow.
And what I learned from doing that is I learned to be kind of a techie, kind of a nerd. And then that, of course, moved into all the changes that happened in real estate with regards to marketing.
Sure.
And we started shifting into video and started, then of course, social media started coming, and that was a whole new thing. And we had to kind of reinvent ourselves because these big giant companies started coming in, such as Zillow and Realtor.com and so forth, Redfin. So it makes you stop and say, okay, what can I do that's unique and relevant? But I can't do the same things that I used to do because things have changed.
Yeah.
And that's really this market. I mean, that's real estate over the years. It's a combination of being consistent with the tried and true, but also being open and flexible to try new things. So it's been fascinating over the years to do that.
Have you been seeing any trends that might be the next new thing in real estate in the last few months since COVID started?
Well, of course, a lot more videos. We're seeing more and more videos, of course. I think, not yet. I think right now, I think right now everybody's kind of tiptoeing a little bit to try to figure out what's actually going to happen here. Right. So I'm not seeing anything substantial that I would say is the newest and greatest that's coming. I remember about, it must have been 5 or 6 years ago, it was all about TV, doing television. You remember that, David? Being on television, that was a big thing, having a TV channel. And so it sort of evolved into different things from there. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
We'll see what comes next. I don't know. Hard to say.
Well, I've been watching Oracle has been negotiating with TikTok, and TikTok seems a little young for me personally. I could be wrong, but these short stories allow to make our personality shine and create more connections on a personal level with our audience and so forth. And I think that pretty soon David's going to have a TikTok package for us to buy into, right?
Well, Instagram is now, doing a good job at competing with TikTok. with their new Reel platform.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think I'm a big, like, here's my big belief, or something I always encourage agents to understand is, as much as you want to put stuff all over social media, you have to create a consistent, like Danielle's been doing with her business, a consistent approach to creating a brand.
The brand.
And you have to do it now more than ever in an authentic way. So that also means it's twofold, meaning, yes, professionally produced videos like we do for Danielle, but then also some real life authentic stuff like we do with Danielle, like a Facebook Live walkthrough. You get to see her personality, which is what Mike's, also encouraging. And it allows you to be in your element without feeling too overly polished that people feel like, hey, this is a newscaster. I always have people, or my clients tell me, agents, well, I'm afraid to be on camera because I'm not well spoken. I don't, I'm afraid to really talk on camera. And I always say, look, just be yourself. And then they say, well, I'm not like I'm on TV like a newscaster. I'm like, well, have you ever connected emotionally with the newscaster? That's what I always ask. Have you connected emotionally with the newscaster? And they're typically going to say no, because they're more, a newscaster is more like giving you information, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas social media allows you to be authentic, to be you, connect with people emotionally by telling stories, by showing them, different parts of who you are. Because as an individual, you're multi-dimensional. Right. And so I would say, I guess that was a long answer to your question, Mike, but I would say, create video by yourself with social media, with your phone. I mean, when I first started doing video, my equipment that I had was less sophisticated than what we have in our hand now. So I'm always encouraged by that, because I feel agents can really do a lot more than they think they can. They just need a little direction. So obviously we have coaching, we have consulting, and those stuff that we provide our agents. But definitely, Mike, I think agents should definitely tell stories through video and through social media.
I agree.
Yeah, that's how you get to know them. And, who are they really?
Right. Yeah. Well, Danielle, thank you so much.
Thank you
for being on the show today. You are such a pleasure to speak with and to be around, and you're always positive, and like you said, you're direct, which I love. I appreciate. You give us an opportunity to deliver our products to you in a way that you enjoy, and just as a person, we really enjoy working with you, and great to have you on the show.
Thanks, David. And
of course, Mike, thank you so much for being on the show. Thanks for co-hosting, asking some really good questions as well, and sharing your knowledge in regards to mortgage.
Well, I appreciate it, David, and great to see you, Danielle. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, Mike. You too. Both of you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And Danielle, I'm the best way people can connect with you, if an agent is watching and wants to reach out, or if a potential home buyer or seller is watching, what's the best way that they can connect with you?
Well, my website, of course, is my name, danielleshort.com. And you can find all my contact information on there. You'll find all kinds of information, testimonials, my listings, solds, my history, what I've done. There's lots of good information there, and also a way to contact me through that site.
Nice. All right. We have in the crawler there, watching danielleshort.com. Thank you guys both. Danielle, thank you. We'll be in touch. We'll see you next week.
Okay.
And you guys have a great day.
You do the
Thank
same.
you, David.
Bye.